Okay, everyone, so good evening. I want to first introduce myself. I would assume that everyone would know me. Our city isn't that big, but I just want to give y'all a rundown on who I am so you know who's standing in front of you and who's speaking to you today. So my name is Shalela Dowdy. I am a native of Mobile, Alabama, a 2008 graduate of Murphy High School, a 2012 graduate. Go Panthers! We got the rappers over here. You know, Murphy's the oldest high school in the state. We about to hit 100 years in 2026, so you know you gotta pay your homage to Murphy. I'm a 2012 graduate of the United States Military Academy at West Point. I'm a major in the United States Army, a law student at Southern University. I'm skipping school tonight because Shomari is worth that. I'm the founding president of Stand Up Mobile, the second vice president of the Mobile NAACP, an Alabama regional organizer with Black Voters Matter, and I'm a citizen and a resident of District 2 and a plaintiff in the original case, Milligan v. Merrill, now Allen v. Milligan. Alabama, as Pastor Woodbridge said, is a state where we fight back. And when we fight, all right, I was trying to see if y'all knew the slogan of the Democratic Party right now, which came from the NAACP, by the way. And so I want to tell y'all a story on how we got here. A lot of people don't understand and don't know what took place for us to get this district. And so for me personally, it started in 2020. I left active duty in 2018. I was a census enumerator where I was literally knocking doors trying to get people to complete their census, because the data that comes from the census is tied to the money that communities receive. And a lot of times people from my community, the Black community, they do not complete their census. And so I was a census enumerator, and then the data came out. And we were waiting for the data to come out because we were worried that Alabama would lose one of its congressional districts. As a millennial, we're losing a lot of our young people to Houston, Dallas, Nashville, and Atlanta. I did a little stint in Atlanta. But I decided to come home because I know our state needs to progress forward. Everybody across the country is early voting right now. Everybody is early voting, but Alabama, Mississippi, and New Hampshire, because we do not have early voting. The absentee voting we have right now is not early voting. Technically it is, but it isn't, because you have to provide an excuse, right? So that's something that we should be fighting for next in 2025. We need early voting because we're going to have long lines on November 5th because we don't have that. So the data came out, and we kept our 7 congressional districts, but we knew the Black population was more than what it was being counted as when it came to what our congressional districts looked like. And so the data revealed that Alabama was 27% Black. And we have one district right now where Congresswoman Terry Sewell is the representative. She is fabulous, representing a portion of Jefferson County, Tuscaloosa, Selma, and a portion of Montgomery. And what we decided to do was advocate for a new congressional district where a Black candidate could be elected. And so our state had public hearings across our states. Unfortunately, they were not highly attended because our people just don't know how the process works and how we can get involved. So the Mobile one was on a Tuesday or Wednesday at 10:30, an inconvenient time. People were at work. And I went down and testified with about 1 or 2 other people, one of our state representatives, either Adeline Clark or Barbara Drummond. Our state House members of the Reapportionment Committee ignored Black voters in Alabama. The only thing I heard, because I watched all the hearings online on Microsoft's team, the only thing I heard was that Alabama deserved another district where we can elect another Black candidate to Congress so that we could have fair representation. And so the new maps came out and they looked almost exactly the same. So they basically ignored us, and so a lawsuit pursued. And I want to thank the attorneys from the NAACP, Legal Defense Fund, and the Alliance Group. They were our attorneys in this case. We have about 7 plaintiffs. The lead plaintiff is Evan Milligan. He's out of Montgomery. He was originally the executive director of Alabama Forward. But a lot of us, we were doing redistricting work beforehand, so becoming a plaintiff in the case was a no-brainer. The results of the case surprised me. I came in with the mindset of, I knew what our United States Supreme Court looked like, but I had the mindset of why not fight, whether we won or lost. And so in the lower court, they decided in favor of Black Alabamians and said that our map was gerrymandered. But in the legal world, you have the option to appeal if you lose the case. And so the state lost, and we went all the way to the United States Supreme Court. And the highest court in the land decided that Alabama's congressional maps were gerrymandered and that Black voters deserved a 2nd district. We ran the case. The case was litigated on race. race, not party. So we ran it on race, that black people were disenfranchised. Every year I go to Congress. I went twice this year, and I engage with my elected officials. And the only member of Congress that makes time for myself when I go with my sorority, and this year I also went with the NAACP in September, the only Congress member that makes time for us is the one that happens to look like me, Congresswoman Terry Sewell. And so for me, that speaks volumes. And I want somebody else up there that looks like me, because when you don't have a seat at the table, you're on the menu. When you don't have someone from your community on the table who keeps your community in mind, you're not being looked out for. And so the Supreme Court came down with their ruling, the conservative Supreme Court, and they decided in our favors. Our state legislators drew a map last summer where the new district was only 39% black. And they were playing in our faces, because in what world is 39 the majority? And so we went back to the lower court, and they decided to appoint a special master to draw the map. And they produced 3 maps, and now we have the map that we have now with 13 counties. So I need y'all to know we are in a congressional district that stretches across the state. It is tough to campaign in. And I want to relate it to a district that Congressman John Lewis had, the Atlanta area. Atlanta has 1 million people in Fulton County, and their congressional district is either all in Fulton County or in between 2 counties. This district is 13 counties. That means time, money, and resources that have to be spent to campaign to these people. It's a lot. And so each congressional district has about 750,000 people in it. The new map that was drawn, it cost us about $500,000, $500,000, because elected officials in the Alabama State House did not want to do the right thing the first time. And now in litigation, we are at the $5 million mark. Taxpayers' money. We know we have healthcare issues in Alabama, along with issues dealing with our education system. And so money is being wasted because elected officials don't want to do the right thing. But what we decided to do, we decided to fight back. And this district is something we're going to always have to fight back for. So I don't need none of y'all to become complacent. Just know every 2 years, because of the district's dynamic, it is only 48.7% black, the black voting age population, which means every 2 years, whatever candidate is running will be in the fight for their life. It won't be a gimme, whether you're the incumbent or not. And our biggest issue will be that midterm, but right now we're focusing on November 5th. And so this is our district. We argue the case that Mobile, Montgomery, and the Black Belt are a community of interest. We argue that we're not a community of interest with Baldwin County. And so that's one reason why the map is drawn the way it is. A lot of us have family in Conecuh County, Butler County, in Selma, in Monroe County, and so that's how we litigated the case. We argued on the basis that Mobile, Montgomery, and the Black Belt, we are a community of interest. We face the same issues. And I just wanted to let you know the fight is not over. February 2025, we still got court in Birmingham. The other side is not giving up, and so we're still fighting. And I need y'all to want to fight alongside us. I would say just voting isn't good enough. We need to be phone banking, door knocking, sign waving, text banking. Just voting is not good enough, and this will be something we will have to continuously do. When we fight, this is our district, not my district because I'm a plaintiff. This is our district. And sending Shomari to Congress means that we have fair and equal representation. That needs to be the narrative you push when you're engaging with people. Fair and equal representation for our community. We are in the fight of our lives. This election, every year you hear that this is the most important election, but we have a woman as our presidential candidate. We have, for the first time, the opportunity to send a second black person to Congress from Alabama. Congresswoman Terry Sewell cannot do it alone. And even when Shomari gets there, pay attention to the bills being introduced. We need support consistently. It isn't, they're in the seat and then, that's them. We need to consistently support the candidate, support the party. We don't support the party enough. In Mobile, we do not support the Democratic Party enough. And we don't need to support it just every 4 years when it's a presidential election. We need to support it consistently. Even next year when we have elections, those are nonpartisan, but we have to be supporting the party so we can support the candidates. I am so appreciative to Attorney General Eric Holder for coming to Mobile. I'm so appreciative of our former state senator, Doug Jones, coming to Mobile. This is how we know this is important. We're bringing all the big dogs down here because Mobile, the 2nd Congressional District, is important. And in order to have a successful president. We need a successful Congress. So this congressional district seat is very important because they're trying to take us back. We already know the narrative as women, what is to come. When you're having these conversations with people, speak about 2025, Project 2025. They're trying to take us back, and we want to progress forward. So I will pass the mic. I'll be emceeing and trying to hype y'all up in between. I know we are not a swing state. We're not a swing state, but the war is where the battle is, and the battle is all across the South if you look at these laws and bills that are being passed. So outside of this race, we need to be paying attention to what's going on in the Alabama State House when it goes into session in February 2025. We need to be involved, engaged, going to Montgomery, speaking on bills. My passion is voting rights. We have a voting rights bill that is being introduced in the Alabama State House next session, and we need to be going up there and speaking for it because we don't really have the power that we should have. We have a supermajority in the Alabama State House. So there's levels to this. We have our congressional district and we have our state house. And I want to challenge you to be involved as much as you can, as much as your schedule allows. And I thank you all for coming out tonight. Next up, I will be followed by the first vice president of the Alabama Alabama NAACP, and that is Iman Ronald Ali, the first VP.